I'm Mike Pelling. I'd like to introduce the latest inductee into the Racing Hall of Fame, Mr. Patrick Duff. Paddy was a horseman. He's from the bush. He's a country guy, and by God, he passed on some really good tips. We used to break in horses. Like when I first started with him, we'd do everything. There was nothing like for me to be riding 20 horses in the morning. And we'd do the older horses, then we'd do the young ones, and then we'd do the breaking in. And I didn't have a real lot of experience with breaking in, but Pat passed on a lot of great tips. If you've got a guy who has people that work for him for 40 years, he must be doing something right. And Paddy Duff has that. He's got people that have worked for him all those years. Michelle is still with him. She's been there forever. Probably Michelle is one of Pat's best horses. But Pat has mentored not only his apprentices, but a lot of the stable hands that work in the stables. I think he's just been able to pass on really good advice to people that help them in their life. I left home when I was 15 and I went to work on a cattle station. And the head stockman on the cattle station was a fella called Noel Scott. And he happened to own a horse with a guy called Pat Duff. He got in contact with Paddy Duff and said, "Are you looking for an apprentice?" Because obviously I was pretty short. And Pat was after somebody, so I left the cattle station and went down to Brisbane. And Pat reckons in those days the planes used to land on the tarmac, and he didn't have a clue what I looked like, but he saw this little bloke coming out with a big hat and a pair of riding boots on. He reckoned that must be him. So I was extremely fortunate, I believe, to start in the racing industry under the tutelage of Pat Duff. The morals and his view on life, I think, steered me in the direction that I went in, and I think he's done that with a lot of young fellas. So yeah, I always regarded I was very, very fortunate to have landed with Pat Duff. I'd just like to say to you, Pat, congratulations, mate. You're a damn good bloke.